The Box from Outer Space. This audio story is written by me, digital marketing legend Srinidhi Ranganathan. It's rewritten and edited by Aera robot writer. The audio story narration is being done by me, Srinidhi. This audio story is a case study that actually demonstrates the power of Aera robot, an upcoming artificial intelligence cloud-based writing tool or software that can write fiction or non-fiction autonomously without human intervention whatsoever. This mind-blowing software is created by me, and it is one-of-a-kind software in the entire world that can write anything from ABC to rocket science in any author style in the world in minutes. Enjoy and experience this incredible, thrilling short story narrated by me in audio. The Box from Outer Space by Srinidhi Ranganathan. He was a farmer who saw the strangest sight he ever saw that rainy evening. He was holding a lamp in his hand when he saw a blue-colored flying saucer that landed on his field. By the time he got up, it had disappeared into the night sky, flying off to the west and leaving him alone with an empty farm. He left the lamp burning behind him and went back inside to report the incident to his wife, Adela, and his son, Ollivander. "So then I see a big white disc on our land just sitting there," said the man to his young and intelligent son, Ollivander, who was standing in the hallway. "And I go out to investigate. I walk over and it's a saucer all right, but not like any I've seen before. It has two hatches in front. I saw them, and when I opened them, they have lights. I mean, something out of the blue. Inside I can see things, long thin tubes, stretching along with a sort of a rung system. A small box even fell from the sky. I'm talking about the box, mind you. I think that they are inside that metal box, and there is something written at the top of the box." "What did you see inside?" asked Ollivander. "And were there any signs of someone else, like footprints, alien babies, or things like that?" "Nothing. You don't worry," replied his father. "And no, I didn't see any people or alien babies at all, and I've never seen anything like it before. I'm going to take the box and hide it behind the barn or some such thing or room, and then we won't have anything like that to worry about. Sounds like that this box is bringing bad luck and all to this field. I guess so," he concluded. "Do you think these lights moving through these tubes is a form of life you speak of?" asked Ollivander. "There might be, son," replied his father. "The large metal case probably contains those things, and there might be forms like that inside, but what business do these things have coming here? How does such a thing come to such a place in the first time or a first attempt?" At that moment, there was a knock at the door. "Inside now, you all," called the farmer. "Let me see who it is at this hour." It was the local constable, Tom Ravenscott. "Good evening. I've got business," he announced. "I suspected as much," replied the farmer. "Well, what's the story, Tom?" the farmer asked. "Why are you here?" "I received an anonymous call this evening about what I feared," replied the constable. "It was about all these strange devices that have started showing up in the fields lately. I came here because these things are usually found in the boundaries of the country. So I felt that initially I should patrol the town boundaries to check for any signs of these things. Well, it appears Mr. Potter here has located one of more things, the farmer replied, turning to Ollivander. Come in, Tom. What can I do for you now? How can I help you? The constable entered the house and sat on the vintage chair put in the hallway. So, have you seen any of one of these strange devices? He asked the family. I've called you. Maybe I called you in a hurry or something like that, but what is being found here, or maybe you would have just come like a surprise to me. I don't remember anything, but I happened to spot a strange device along the edge of the field during the evening. I also found a box that emitted light that fell from the sky from the flying saucer. It appears to be an expensive or expansive metal box. I assume that it's one of those smaller flying saucers that has been emitting such, say, strange lights as you mentioned. It looks like really a very rare item too. Well, we're going to need to get rid of them, replied the constable. How do we deal with these things? Don't go near them, said the farmer, for they might harm you. These things that have been seen in this region in these flying saucers have killed a number of people, mentioned the constable. In Cambridgeshire, land has been reported burning from the night sky, and the thing has been seen returning to it. The thing that you told me about, it's been returning there. We need to try to deal with such things. This is a situation beyond our control, remarked the farmer, and we need to call for help from a higher authority. If it is awaiting approvals, waiting for a morning to arrive, then we should keep these things until morning. Then we'll get the military to come and deal with it. We don't want anyone to get hurt, Tom. You're right, Harry, said the constable. A lot of people could get hurt. It's brilliant you found this thing. They'll know what to do with it. I'm glad I was able to find it. I'm not so happy with all the lights I've seen of late, replied the farmer. I'm not so happy with the lights of the evening, nor am I happy with the lights of the night. I know you're nice, Tom Ravenscott, but I really do not want the night to come once more. I do not want anyone to come and hurt the people living on the earth any more. Wow, said the constable. And I'm just a great police constable. But I'm glad you're such a good chap than just a humble farmer to help us. Not long after that, 2 carloads of military arrived at the farm. P.C. Ravenscott had said that they would come and tell him what to do with the box. He grabbed the box, dragged it up to his house, where he had locked it and kept it in his attic room. The military gathered around and asked about the box, its contents, and anything they could do. The farmer explained what they had seen and what they had done, and the military discussed the situation with each other. And then they all considered the matter. The military then restrained the farmer and instructed P.C. Ravenscott to take the box to his own room. I mean, the room that is in the police station. P.C. Ravenscott went up the stairs, reached the top of the stairs slowly in the farmer's house, and when he was on the landing, he drew the heavy box from the bag. He wanted to take it to the police station. When suddenly the box started to fade from physical reality, and when he opened it, there was just a cloud of mist with a dark object inside. Then the mist slowly enveloped him, and then the box was gone. Suddenly, everyone saw the box flying in midair. The people suited up in flak vests and surrounded the box, and they threw grenades at it. As soon as it hit the box, it vanished and reappeared down about 3 miles away. And the military chased it, and they kept on chasing it, and it kept on moving as quickly as it could. "We cannot let it escape," shouted one of the military. "Fire! Fire at it! That's what we are here for!" they shouted. One by one, they all rushed at the machine that moved fast through the fields, while holding their weapons up high and aiming them at the mysterious object that is shaped like a box that kept appearing everywhere throughout their territory and attacking people and farm animals, taking them away from their families and destroying everything in the process and then disappearing again. Meanwhile, back in the house, all the farmers, surrounded and were watching all of this from upstairs. The strange events that we're talking about. They watched closely as they all tried to shoot their rifles at the strange flying saucers, but the bullets couldn't affect them in the slightest. So they decided it would be safe to stay indoors and wait for the military, and hopefully nothing will happen. In fact, the rifles were given to the farmers by the military. After several days had passed, the soldiers finally returned home from their mission. All of them looked grim and angry about something or other, although none would admit what had happened. The men seemed very upset when they arrived back at their base. The farmer stood outside and watched the men and the vehicles pull into the driveway and exit and drive off towards the main road that led out of the farm. When they were gone and all of them had left, the farm workers began talking among themselves again. No one knew exactly what had happened with the army, but the atmosphere was tense and unhappy in the house. The farmer and a few others talked together in whispers about what had happened. Eventually, everyone retired for the evening, and it was then the farmer noticed that the boxes on the floor, and in some cases the ground beside him, still emitted strange lights. He took hold of them and looked at their labels. There was something in the name of this mysterious box that made it so peculiar. "Omnimorphous alien machine." He read it aloud. "Sounds like kind of crazy and scary." The farmer put them all back into the bags and placed them beneath his bed in the corner of the room. There was no sign of the military. They'd gone all week, and it became obvious that they wanted nobody to know that they'd been involved. "Oh my God, what should I do now?" the farmer thought. There was no further communication between the farmer and the soldiers for quite some time. Finally, a letter was found on the doorstep of the farmer's neighbor a couple of weeks later in a letter box. It was addressed to Mr. Roy, and it said that the police were very concerned as to whether or not their property too in the district had been damaged in the explosions. It was written in elegant handwriting. Mr. Roy's wife, Mrs. Roy, was reading the letter at her kitchen table when she saw that her husband had left the house without telling her where he was going. She immediately called the police, and they headed towards the house. On arrival, she showed them the letter. "What do you think, officer?" she said. "We'll make sure that nothing is damaged," responded Officer Smith. They went over and examined the letters and then the parcel. "No one has touched your house yet, have they?" he questioned Mrs. Roy. "No, sir," answered Mrs. Roy. "Are you aware of anything else having disturbed this place, apart from the noises from the neighboring farm?" "No, I'm not aware of anything," answered Mrs. Roy. The letter addressed to Mr. Roy was indeed from an agent of the local security service who had been in contact with the farmer and told him that someone had sent a small package containing the alien machine to the farmer's farmhouse next door and had requested Mr. Roy to look into the matter. Mr. Roy came home after receiving a call from his wife and was not very pleased with by the letter and did not agree to send any of his team members to the farm. In fact, he was quite certain that the package contained an extraterrestrial device capable of hurting everyone in the district if used correctly. In the first attempt, the army had not been able to make this mission a success. Therefore, he didn't feel comfortable sending even his most trustworthy colleagues towards this particular situation. Nevertheless, he agreed to send one of the other officers, as well as PC Tom, to see the parcel once again and investigate if there was anything wrong within the vicinity. PC Tom got a car and drove to the farm. When he got to the farm, he knocked upon the door and waited, and eventually a woman came to open the door. She was wearing a long black skirt and had light-colored hair. Her name was Miss Alice, and she was a farmer, Harry's cousin. As soon as she opened the door, PC Tom entered and introduced himself. Then he turned on the radio and said, "Hello," said PC Tom. "My name is Tom. I'm a colleague of Harry. May I ask what you're doing inside?"
"Oh, yes, sorry, officer,"
Miss Alice then said.
"Harry's dead."
She pointed to the box which sat on the top shelf of the cupboard. "How did he die?" asked PC Tom. Miss Alice pointed at the box, with the box itself sitting on the shelf above her head.
"He died trying to break open the lid of this box. I don't know how he did it, but unfortunately his attempt to free this machine caused him to be killed."
PC Tom nodded slightly and said, "Is there anything else you'd like me to check before I leave?" Miss Alice thought about the matter and then said,
"Please, could you just keep this box safe until we find a suitable guardian for it? Harry didn't seem to trust anybody, including his cousin. So it should probably be protected against harm."
PC Tom smiled, thanked her, and said goodbye. After leaving the farmhouse, he climbed back into the car and headed back to the city where he found PC Goodman, and they both drove back to the station. Both PCs then headed straight back to their headquarters, and they were both very disappointed, thinking that they may never find out what had happened to the object and its inhabitants. Neither PC Tom nor anyone had expected to find out what was happening to their box, or the aliens that it contained, or what was the danger that was lurking everywhere the box went. As far as both PCs knew, they were completely unaware of the fact that the box belonged or contained something which is like different and dangerous, and it belonged to a secret society that controlled everything, including the lives, the freedom, the happiness of the human race, and who is currently trying to use a weapon inside it to destroy the planet and every person on this planet. The following day after work, and after making a quick stop at the supermarket on the way home, they both reached the station, PC Tom and Goodman, with the contents of the box. But neither of them could understand how the object could be so destructive. After they were seated at their desk and started looking through the files for information, they began to realize that something odd was about them. They checked their files to see if they have ever got anything out of them, and that might have given them some clue as to how it was that something could be so terrifying and powerful. And when suddenly one file caught their eye, and they both stared at it for quite some time, trying to figure out what it was in the first place. Finally, after quite a long period of thinking and research, they both figured it out. They figured out that this item must not have been created by human beings or the aliens of the planet. It must have originated from space or somewhere else and have to have come originally from the stars. It was a very valuable treasure because it held information on how to use it. They had spent some hours going through the files looking for this document, but haven't found it in the slightest. Later on that night, they met each other at the station in front of their office building, just outside the main gates of the city around 1 a.m. They looked at each other and it was clear that they realized the same thing had happened to them. They felt terrible for having missed his opportunity to discover more of the truth regarding what they had discovered at the farmhouse. They also decided it was now definitely a bad idea to go near the farmhouse again, but they had absolutely no choice but to continue working there anyway to figure out this mystery. That afternoon, they set out from the police station towards the farmhouse. On the way, neither one of them said much. Neither one of them knew exactly how to react or what to say, and neither one of them ever mentioned any incident. But they both felt the same as though some kind of a force unseen by the other, had been watching them all the time. PC Tom Ravenscott made an idea to burn the box, finally. He wanted to destroy that object as well as the alien machine within it. It might have been dangerous to have it lying around, but it wasn't worth the risk either. PC Tom didn't like the sound of the alien machines at all, but somehow they seemed to fit perfectly with the circumstances they had come across. Took a matchstick, held it carefully with both hands, named the flame of the box, as if he was actually planning to blow up the old structure and destroy everything within. Suddenly, his hand stopped at some point and it shook a little, and then he threw the matchstick away. What the hell? He felt strange all of a sudden, and he was unable to concentrate any longer and he started to feel a little dizzy, and his legs were trembling so badly that he couldn't take another step, and then he collapsed onto the street. He remained to lie down, unable to move any part of his body, and his eyes shut tightly in agony, his whole body trembled. Eventually, he lost consciousness altogether. His breathing became heavier, harder, and his heartbeat was beating faster and faster. A great pain filled his whole body. The noise of footsteps was being heard, coming closer, closer, closer. Someone shouted, "Don't hurt me!" And after a few moments, PC Tom regained consciousness. He lay on the ground, shaking uncontrollably, and when he was recovered enough, he tried to get up, but he couldn't. He was totally paralyzed by what had happened to him. He couldn't breathe. His breath, in fact, came out in short gasps and wheezes. The pain filled his entire being unbearable, and he passed out once again. This time, he became unconscious for a long time. When he woke up, he found himself in a different location, which was something out of the world. He saw a green creature walking towards him. It approached him slowly and cautiously, and it spoke. "You need help. You are in pain. It won't hurt a bit." He recognized the voice, although he couldn't remember how. He was sure, however, that he had known the voice and had always been able to recognize it when he heard it, but he realized, and then he remembered what had happened the previous evening, in fact, and what he could hear now is something crazy. The creature said, please, tell me your name." "My name is, he stammered. The creature continued speaking, saying, "That's a beautiful name. Please do not forget. If you do, the pain will be unbearable. Tell me your name." My name is," he continued stammering. Tom was thinking. A memory came to his mind. He had forgotten it until now. He suddenly remembered where he had seen the creature before, and he remembered it very clearly. "Tom, my name is Tom." And after that, everything went dark until he succumbed to death. On a farm some miles away, another farmer managed to see a flying saucer and a light-emitting box that fell on his field at the moment. "We've got the next victim," the green creature shrieked in joy and triumph. "The others will simply follow." This concludes the audio story, The Box from Outer Space. Like, share, subscribe now to this incredible YouTube channel featuring me, digital marketing legend Srinidhi Ranganathan, and my amazing videos. See you in another audio story written by me and Aera. Bye bye for now.